Hello, friends. In a world of constant noise, true power belongs to the one who listens. Welcome to Liberty Listen. This is your space for clarity, wisdom, and the high-performance habits that set you free. We don't just summarize books, we dissect the strategies of legends, from the science of the mind to the secrets of the world's greatest achievers. If you are ready to break the old patterns, rebuild your identity, and take command of your future, you're in the right place. Hit that subscribe button, join the journey, because your transformation begins with a single listen. This is Liberty Listen. Let's get to work. They told you that success requires a revolution. They told you that you needed more willpower, more hustle, more grind. They were wrong. Real transformation doesn't happen in a flash of lightning. It happens in the dark. It happens in the quiet, invisible choices you make when no one is watching. 1%, that's all it takes. 1% better every day makes you 37 times more powerful by the end of the year. This is Liberty Listen, and today we aren't just going to talk about your goals, we're going to rebuild your identity from the ground up. Welcome to the power of atomic habits. Chapter 1: The Power of Tiny Gains. Have you ever looked at your life and felt that a total transformation was just out of reach? Most of us believe that to change our world, we need to make a massive, earth-shattering move. We wait for the big win, the lightning strike, or the lucky break. But the truth is much quieter. In today's session, we're diving into the mechanics of James Clear's groundbreaking work, Atomic Habits. This isn't just a book, it's a roadmap. It proves that greatness isn't a single event, it is a system. Whether you're looking to scale a multi-million-dollar career, sharpen your mind to a razor's edge, or reclaim your physical health, the secret is hidden in the tiny habits that create a massive impact over time. The science of the small. Everything begins with a seed. Think of the actions you perform without a second thought. Brushing your teeth, tying your shoes. You do these things because the reward is immediate: freshness, cleanliness, stability. But this principle is a double-edged sword. Negative habits follow the exact same physics. Stress at the office leads to a drink at 5 o'clock. The drink provides a temporary, fleeting relief. That relief pulls you back again tomorrow. The reward is short-term, but the cost? The cost is a long-term debt that your future self will eventually have to pay. The legend of the 1%. Let's look at the greatest turnaround in sports history. In 2003, British cycling was in absolute shambles. For over a century, they had managed to win only a single Olympic gold. They were so lackluster, so mediocre, that top bike manufacturers actually refused to sell them equipment. They were afraid that if professional riders were seen on their bikes, it would ruin their brand reputation. Then came Dave Brailsford. He didn't look for a miracle. He didn't ask for a new team. Instead, he looked for marginal gains. His strategy was simple: improve every single thing you do by just 1%. They redesigned the bike seats for comfort. They wore electrically heated overshoes to keep muscle temperatures optimal. They even hired a surgeon to teach the riders the most effective way to wash their hands to prevent catching a cold during the season. The result? In 5 years, they didn't just compete, they dominated the Beijing Olympics. In 10 years, they had secured 5 Tour de France titles. They didn't change the people, they changed the system. Chapter 2: The Math of Your Identity. Compounding effect. How does a 1% change lead to an Olympic gold? It's the law of compound interest applied to your soul. If you get just 1% better each day for one single year, by the end of those 365 days, you will be 37 times better than when you started. But the math works both ways. If you get 1% worse every day, you will decline almost entirely to zero. A single burger today won't make you unhealthy. One missed workout won't ruin your physique. But when those 1% errors are repeated daily, they compound into a disaster. Your habits today are the lead indicators of your destination tomorrow. Identity-based transformation. Most people fail at change for one simple reason. They focus on what they want to achieve rather than who they want to become. When you focus only on the goal, the habit feels like a chore, it feels like a burden. But look at the shift in language. Don't just try to read a book, aim to become a reader. Don't just try to run a mile, aim to become a runner. Don't just try to write a page, aim to become a writer. When a habit is tied to your identity, it isn't something you do, it's a reflection of who you are. You don't try to brush your teeth because you are a person who values hygiene. When you shift your identity, the hard work becomes natural. The first step. Change doesn't have to be a mountain. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. You don't need to see the whole staircase. You just need to see the first step. Be consistent. Start small. If you are ready to transform, stop looking at the horizon and start looking at your next decision. Take that first, tiny, atomic step today.
Chapter 3. The Identity Shift. Who are you? Imagine two people standing on a street corner. Both are trying to quit smoking. A stranger walks up and offers them a cigarette. The first person says, "No thanks, I'm trying to quit." It sounds like a good answer, doesn't it? But listen to the subtext. This person still identifies as a smoker who is currently attempting to be someone else. They are carrying the weight of their past identity like a heavy coat, hoping it eventually falls off. Now, listen to the second person. They look the stranger in the eye and say, "No thanks, I don't smoke." Do you hear the difference? It's subtle, but it's a tectonic shift. They aren't trying to do anything. They have already redefined who they are. To them, the cigarette isn't a temptation, it's something that simply doesn't belong in their world anymore. Most of us fail at change because we focus on the outcome, the what. We want the six-pack, the promotion, the clean house. But real, lasting change happens at the level of identity. Every action you take is a vote for the person you wish to become. If you want to be a writer, don't focus on the book. Focus on being the person who writes 200 words every morning. When your habits are a reflection of your identity, you aren't fighting yourself anymore. You are simply being yourself. Chapter 4. The 4 Steps of Habit, the Invisible Loop. In the late 1800s, psychologist Edward Thorndike spent his days watching cats. He built puzzle boxes, wooden crates with hidden levers. He noticed that at first, the cats would scramble, hiss, and claw at the walls. But eventually, by accident, they'd hit the lever. The door would swing open. The next time, they hit it faster. The 10th time, they hit it instantly. This isn't just about cats, it's the blueprint of the human brain. Your life is governed by a 4-step loop that runs in the background of your mind 24 hours a day. 1. The cue. This is the spark. It's the smell of coffee or the buzz of your phone. It's your brain noticing a potential reward. 2. The craving. This is the engine. It's the desire to change your internal state, to feel awake or to feel connected. 3. The response. This is the action. It's the actual habit you perform. 4. The reward. This is the destination. It's the satisfaction that teaches your brain, hey, this felt good. Remember this for next time.
If you want to build a life-changing habit, you have to master all 4 steps. If the cue is invisible, you'll never start. If the reward is missing, you'll never repeat it. Chapter 5. The Power of Awareness. The Body's Secret Language. There is a famous story about a woman who saved her father-in-law's life without even knowing how. She looked at him during a family dinner and said, "You don't look right. We need to go to the hospital, now." She wasn't a doctor, she hadn't taken his pulse, but hours later, surgeons found a major artery was almost completely blocked. He was minutes away from a fatal heart attack. How did she know? Her brain had spent years observing him. It had cataloged the subtle grayness of his skin, the specific way he held his breath, the slight change in his posture. Her subconscious recognized a pattern before her conscious mind could even find the words. Your habits are exactly like this. They are so automatic that they become invisible. You check your phone while waiting for an elevator without even deciding to do it. You reach for the chips while watching TV without feeling hungry. Before you can change your path, you have to look at the map. I want you to start a habit scorecard. For one full day, write down every single thing you do. Don't judge yourself. Don't apologize. Just watch. Because awareness is the only bridge between who you are and who you want to be.
Chapter 6. Implementation Intentions. The End of Someday. We all have a someday list. Someday I'll start running. Someday I'll learn to meditate. In 2001, researchers in Great Britain proved that someday is where habits go to die. They tracked 3 groups of people. One group got nothing. The second group got motivation. They watched videos and read books about how exercise saves lives. And you know what? It didn't work. The motivated group exercised no more than the people who watched nothing at all. Motivation is a feeling, and feelings are like the weather. They change every hour. The third group did one simple thing. They filled in the blanks of a sentence. During the next week, I will partake in 20 minutes of vigorous exercise on day, at time, in place. 91% of them followed through. They didn't have more willpower. They didn't have a better why. They simply had a plan. When you define the when and the where, you take the decision-making out of the equation. You stop waiting for the feeling to strike, and you start acting like the person you decided to be. Chapter 7. Environment Over Willpower. The Invisible Hand. We love the idea of the self-made hero, the person with iron willpower who can resist any temptation. But the truth is much simpler. People with high self-control don't actually use their willpower more often. They just build lives that require less of it. Think about the cafeteria at Boston General Hospital. When they moved the water bottles to the front and hid the soda in the back, people started drinking water. They didn't do it because they suddenly cared about their health. They did it because it was the easiest thing to do. Your environment is the invisible hand that shapes your behavior. If you sleep with your phone on your nightstand, you will check it in the morning. If you keep cookies on the counter, you will eat them. Stop trying to fight your environment. Start designing it. If you want to drink more water, put a bottle in every room. If you want to read more, put a book on your pillow. Make the good habits obvious and the bad habits invisible. Success isn't a test of your character. It's a result of your architecture. Transformation doesn't happen in a day. It happens in the 1% shifts. One plan, one change in your room, one shift in who you believe you are. Chapter 8. The Naked Author. The Strategy of Pre-Commitment. In the sweltering summer of 1830, the city of Paris was alive with noise, but inside one apartment there was a deafening silence. Victor Hugo, one of the greatest literary minds in history, was staring at a blank page. He was in trouble. 12 months prior, he had promised his publisher a masterpiece. But Hugo was a socialite. He loved fine wine, long dinners, and the company of friends. A year had vanished, and not a single chapter of The Hunchback of Notre Dame had been written. His publisher delivered an ultimatum: finish the book by February or lose everything. Most people in this position would try to find more willpower. They'd make a resolution. They'd try harder. But Hugo knew better. He knew that willpower is a fickle friend. So he did something radical. He went to his wardrobe and gathered every piece of clothing he owned: his formal coats, his trousers, his walking shoes. He handed them to his assistant and said, "Lock these away. Do not give them back until the manuscript is finished." Hugo was left with nothing but a large gray knitted shawl that covered him from neck to toe. He had no clothes to go outside. He was a prisoner of his own design. Because he couldn't leave, he had no choice but to write. This is what we call a commitment device. The secret to developing good habits isn't just making them easy, it's making the alternative impossible. If you want to change your life, don't just rely on your mind, change your circumstances until you have no other choice but to succeed.
Chapter 9. The Ledger of Benjamin Franklin. The Art of Tracking. Let's travel across the Atlantic to the early days of America. A young Benjamin Franklin, long before he was a founding father, realized he was a man of many flaws. He was impulsive. He was disorganized. Instead of praying for a better character, he decided to engineer one. Franklin carried a small, leather-bound booklet. In it, he created a grid of 13 virtues: temperance, silence, order, frugality. Every night, before the candle burnt out, he would open that book and perform a self-audit. He would place a black spot next to every virtue he had violated that day. Why was this so powerful? Because it made his habits visible. Most of us live our lives in a fog. We think we're eating healthy or we think we're working hard, but we don't actually know. A habit tracker is the light that cuts through that fog. But there's a second secret here: the joy of the mark. There is a profound psychological satisfaction in crossing a task off a list or marking a successful day. That tiny moment of "I did it" releases a spark of dopamine in the brain. It makes the habit satisfying. You aren't just working toward a goal 10 years away, you are winning today. And when you see a streak of successful days on your calendar, you will fight like a lion to keep from breaking it. Chapter 10. The Cardinal Rule. Instant versus delayed gratification. Everything we do is governed by one simple biological law: the cardinal rule of behavior. What is immediately rewarded is repeated. What is immediately punished is avoided. This is the reason you can't stop scrolling on your phone. The reward, the hit of novelty, is instant. The cost, the wasted hours and the brain fog, is delayed. Now, look at a good habit, like going to the gym. The punishment is instant. You're tired, you're sweaty, and your muscles ache. The reward, the health and the strength, is months, maybe years away. As humans, we are wired for the immediate return environment of the savannah, where eating sugar meant survival now. But we live in a delayed return environment. To master your life, you must hack this system. If you want to break a bad habit, you have to find a way to make it painful in the moment. If you want to keep a good habit, you have to find a way to give yourself a tiny, immediate reward the second you finish it. Buy that high-end coffee only after you finish your morning writing. Listen to your favorite podcast only while you're at the gym. You have to bridge the gap between today's effort and tomorrow's dream. You've heard the stories. You've seen the math. You know the secrets of the environment and the power of identity. But knowledge is only a seed. Without action, it stays dormant. It stays small. Don't wait for Monday. Don't wait for a new you to show up. The person you want to become is waiting for you to cast your first vote right now. One small change, one obvious cue, 1%. The clock is already ticking on your future. Make sure it's the one you chose. This was Atomic Habits. The rest is up to you.